India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Sunday interacted with 250 students from Jammu and Kashmir as part of Watan Ko Jano program. More than 250 students from almost all districts of Jammu and Kashmir from underprivileged backgrounds are touring the country. The students have visited Jaipur, Ajmer and New Delhi cities. A merchant ship MV Chem Pluto was reportedly attacked by a suspected drone strike on aerial platform in the Arabian Sea. The ship caught fire after the attack. The Indian Coast Guard ship ICGS Vikram, deployed on patrol of Indian Exclusive Economic Zone, rescues the merchant vessel. The vessel was carrying chemicals from Saudi Arabia's Jubail port to Mangalore, India. After the rescue by Indian Coast Guard, the vessel has started moving towards Indian city of Mumbai and will reach the coast by early hours of 25th of December. All crew members are safe, which includes around 20 Indians. Indian Coast Guard is escorting the ship during its passage. And the first Indian winter expedition team to Arctic reached Indian research base Himadri and started their research works. The team of 4 scientists from India's premier institutes will carry out critical research during polar night. India's Earth Sciences Minister Kiran Rijiju launched India's first winter Arctic expedition in New Delhi on December 18. The historic venture holds significance as India navigates the critical influence of Arctic on global climate, sea levels and biodiversity for the first time. Updates now on the Israel-Hamas conflict. As Israel continues its operation to neutralize terror groups Hamas, thick smoke rose over parts of Gaza seen from the Israeli side of the border on Sunday. Israeli forces claim that current focus of its strikes is Hamas's underground tunnels, and that is further expand its operations in southern Gaza in next few days. Meanwhile, the Israeli military reported that 8 soldiers had been killed in Gaza on Sunday, bringing combat losses there to 154. Israel's defense ministry has released a video on Saturday showing Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant and emergency minister visiting troops deployed in northern Gaza. Israel is battling Hamas terrorists in its fight against terrorism. This comes as Israel's army chief of staff also visited troops inside Gaza. As per the White House, US President Joe Biden spoke with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Saturday to discuss the situation in Israel and Gaza. Biden said he did not ask Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for a ceasefire in a long call the two leaders had on Saturday. Well, in the leaflets airdropped on Friday, the Israeli military has asked the refugees in central Gaza's Burich camp and surrounding areas to evacuate for their safety and move southward toward shelters. Some people are taking shelter in the facilities of the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine refugees, and some are in the open areas. Protests continued in Israel's Tel Aviv demanding release of hostages held by terror group Hamas. The protesters gathered at Tel Aviv's Hostage Square. The demonstrations were only a short walk apart, and many protesters took part in 2 protests as they shared similar sentiments of the safe release of hostages. The Israeli Defense Forces have said that in the early hours on Sunday, a number of launches were identified crossing from Lebanon toward various areas in northern Israel, to which the IDF engaged in retaliatory fire and struck the source of fire. Throughout Saturday, IDF artillery struck a number of areas in Lebanon. IDF fighter jets struck a military command center belonging to the Hezbollah terrorist organization. Due to the launches fired from Lebanon toward Manara, an IDF soldier in reserves was moderately injured from the shrapnel. Now, as per US Central Command, the United States shot down 4 drones headed towards a US destroyer in the southern Red Sea that were launched from Houthi control areas of Yemen on Saturday. The CENTCOM said in a post on X that these attacks represent the 14th and 15th attacks on commercial shipping by the Houthis since October 17th. The Iran-aligned Houthis, who control much of Yemen, have disrupted world trade for weeks with attacks on ships passing through the Bab al-Mandab Strait at the southern end of the Red Sea, in what they say is a response to Israel's operation against terror group Hamas in Gaza. Meanwhile, Iran has rejected U.S. accusations of involvement in Houthi attacks on vessels in Red Sea. Iran's deputy foreign minister on Saturday dismissed the accusations of providing the Yemeni rebel group with weapons and tactical intelligence, saying the Houthis were acting on their own.
We frankly told the U.S. side that the Yemen-based Houthis made the decision according to their own position. We have never ordered them to do anything, neither we will order them to stop taking action. For us, regional security is very important. We are not seeking to expand the scope of war. The solution to the problem is not to establish a so-called coalition in the Red Sea, but to stop the bloodshed of women, children and civilians in the Gaza Strip and the West Bank.
Russia-Ukraine continue its counteroffensives against each other. The latest battle reports say that both the countries in the move have targeted each other's weapon depots and command posts. Ukraine claimed its army shattered Russian command posts and other targets over the past 24 hours. This comes after Russia launched 14 airstrikes in Ukraine on Saturday. However, Russia said it's repulsed several attacks by the Ukrainian army in the directions eastern Ukraine, southeastern Ukraine and Kherson in southern Ukraine. Moreover, Russia also launched several offensives to destroy Ukrainian tanks, armored vehicles, self-propelled artilleries and other equipment in the areas. In a first, Ukrainians will celebrate Christmas this year on December 25th instead of January 7 as part of several moves to erase Russia's historical influence on Ukraine. The festive spirit is in Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine, despite the conflict with Russia, with revelers parading through markets and carol singers also singing the Christmas carols. Ukraine passed a law in July this year, moving the celebration to December 25th, the day when most of the Christian world marks Christmas. The law signed by President Volodymyr Zelensky noted that Ukrainians wanted to live their own life with their own traditions and holidays. Well, in Russia, former TV journalist who announced that she would go against President Vladimir Putin was disqualified on Saturday as a candidate for Russia's next presidential election. Members of the Central Electoral Commission voted unanimously to reject her candidacy, citing numerous violations in the papers she had submitted in support of her bid. Dunstova had applied to the Electoral Commission to be registered as a candidate just 3 days earlier. The Russian politician said she would challenge the decision in the Supreme Court, calling it unjustified and undemocratic. Well, Boris Nadezhdin, an opposition politician who has been critical of Vladimir Putin and his special military operation in Ukraine, was put forward as presidential candidate by the center-right Civic Initiative Party. The party said he planned to register with the Electoral Commission on December 25. Putin's best-known opponent, Alexei Navalny, is serving prison sentences totaling more than 30 years, and his supporters say that they do not even know where he is after they were told that he had been moved from his previous penal colony earlier this month. Opposition candidates in the Democratic Republic of Congo have rejected provisional election results showing incumbent President Felix Tshisekedi with a comfortable lead and called for a rerun. The elections in the Central African country were marred by delays and serious logistical challenges last Wednesday. Our correspondent Chris Okrambinga has more from Kinshasa.
The Commission in the Democratic Republic of Congo started releasing provisional results of the country's presidential elections on Friday. Vote tallies of Congolese citizens living in Belgium, Canada, France, South Africa, and the United States showed incumbent President Felix Tshisekedi with a clear lead. But the votes represent a small proportion of the number of registered voters in the DRC. The provisional results came a day after voting was extended in many polling stations in the DRC due to delays in delivering voting kits and faulty machines. 5 opposition candidates have rejected the results and called for fresh polls organized by a new electoral commission. The head of the DRC's Electoral Commission, Denis Kadima, has dismissed the criticism from the opposition. The candidates are now planning to hold a march in Kinshasa to protest the outcome of the elections. Disputed polls have triggered unrest in the DRC in the past. International and local observers have noted a lack of confidence in the voting process, but called on Congolese citizens to remain calm. The DRC is a mineral-rich country that has had only one peaceful transfer of power since it gained independence from Belgium in 1960. The Electoral Commission is expected to release the whole provisional results on December 31st. Chris Ochamringa in Kinshasa for DD India.
Republican presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy pledged to pardon all peaceful protesters that took part in the events of January 6th attack on the US Capitol in 2021. At the Turning Point Action Conference, Ramaswamy said the attack looks not just like an intelligence failure, but an intentional intelligence failure. According to a polling and analysis website, Ramaswamy has the support of 4% of Republican primary voters, while Trump is the lead with roughly 63% support. Chilean President Gabriel Boric said there wouldn't be any more constitutional referendums during his term after 2 attempts to replace the country's current constitution failed. President said that during a televised address that the country got polarized, adding that his government would focus on more urgent matters. With 99.65% of ballot boxes tallied, Chileans rejected a new text that sought to replace the current constitution that dates back to the Augusto Pinochet dictatorship. Many Chileans have voiced mistrust and disenchantment with the process after years of polarization and political infighting. And still to come on DD India News Hour. Amid widespread protests, Argentina president calls to hold special session over economic reforms. Czechs remember victims of mass shooting as nation holds day of mourning. And we tell you why no one does Christmas better than the people in Finland.
India's huge leaps towards becoming self-reliant in defense sector. Policy changes enabling increased involvement of private sector. From humanitarian assistance to rescue operations. Increased synergy among armed forces through joint military exercises. Watch Echoes 2023, India's defenders at these times only on DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Argentina's President Javier Milei has issued a decree calling for extraordinary sessions to speed up reforms, reinstate the tax on salaries abolished by the previous government, and modernize the electoral process. Milei, who took office in early December, sent the decree to the legislative body late on Friday for bills to be discussed from December 26 to January 31. Congress is in recess, with sessions next scheduled for March. Earlier this week, Milei proposed more than 300 measures to deregulate the South American country's economy, including eliminating price controls and bureaucracy to help promote industrial activity. Argentina is mired in a prolonged economic crisis with triple-digit inflation, negative reserves, a rapidly depreciating peso, and over 40% of the population living in poverty. While DD India's Latin American correspondent Mary Trini Mena has the report.
Argentina's new president is making big changes in the South American country. The shock economic measures that he had promised during his electoral campaign are already raising concerns in a sector of the population. This week, leftist groups took to the streets to complain over the austerity measures being implemented by the libertarian politician. The government is warning protesters against blocking the streets and has announced a zero-tolerance policy for those who do so. More demonstrations are expected in Buenos Aires in the coming days. One of Milei's first economic decisions was a 54% devaluation of the Argentina peso in an effort to control the triple-digit annual inflation that Argentina has been struggling with over the past few years. Earlier this week, the 53-year-old economist unveiled part of his strategy to deregulate Argentina's economy. He started by signing an emergency decree that included 300 measures striking down major regulations, including Argentina's housing rental market, exports, land ownership, and food retailers, among others. The emergency economic decree is set to be in place for 2 years. The demonstrations happen at a time when 4 in 10 Argentines are living in poverty, and inflation is running at over 140% in South America's second largest economy. In Caracas, Mary Trini Mena reporting for DD India.
The Czech Republic mourned the victims of a shooting at Charles University in capital Prague, which left 14 people dead. Czech President Petr Pavel attended a mass in Prague on Saturday to remember the victims of country's worst mass shooting. A day of national mourning observed by the entire Central European nation for those who lost their lives in mass shooting. Flags are flown at half-mast on the official buildings across Czech Republic as the country mourned the victims of Prague University shooting. Bells rang across the Czech capital as rain pelted hundreds of candles and flowers laid in tribute to the victims as mourners stood in silent tribute for a minute. Czechs at the memorial outside Charles University said a minute of silence for the victims was a strong and powerful moment as they never had such experience before.
It was very strong feeling because me and my friend, we were at the cathedral with the president, with all the main presence. So it was one of the strongest moments because I never feel like that before, because I never have like 1 minute of silence in this, yeah, and in this occasion. I never had it.
I'm very shocked. I don't feel really safe as much as before in a public place, especially in public transportation. When there is a quick movement, I'm a bit nervous, and it's always stressful.
In Burundi, the government on Saturday said that gunmen killed at least 20 people and wounded 9 others near the country's western border with the Democratic Republic of Congo. The attack is claimed by Red Tabara rebel group on social media platform X. The people killed in the incident involved children, pregnant women, and a police officer. Red Tabara has been battling Burundi's government from bases in eastern Congo since 2015 now. It has also claimed to attack country's international airport in September. Kosovo's Prime Minister said that armed men supported by Serbian security agencies were being trained to launch new attacks in his country after September assault, which left 4 dead. Speaking at a news conference, he said Milan Radojcic, a top Kosovo Serb politician who admitted taking part in the September gun battle, was planning further attacks. Peter Petkovic, head of Serbia's government office for Kosovo, said Kurti's allegations was false. Prosecutors in Kosovo has issued an international warrant for the arrest of Kosovo's Serb politician and 30 others believed to be hiding in Serbia. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has expressed grief over the passing of Ambassador Hans Dannenberg of the Dominican Republic. He has posted on social media platform X, and I quote him, "Deeply grieved to learn the passing away of Ambassador Hans Dannenberg of the Dominican Republic. He was an extraordinary friend of India and of so many of us personally. His tenure as the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps in New Delhi is fondly remembered by those who served then. He personally built Dominican Republic's relationship with India and took it to great political and economic heights. Our condolences to his family," unquote. Well, let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. And Australia's weather forecaster on Sunday issued heat wave alerts for Queensland state and neighbouring Northern Territory. Warning temperatures in some regions could hit around 45 degrees Celsius. In Western Australia, more than 20 bushfires were burning. State authorities have warned of high fire danger for many parts of Western Australia. The weather in Hong Kong became more chilly as residents faced a combination of cold temperatures on occasional showers. Urban areas recorded temperatures as low as 6 degrees Celsius. Families gathered outside Santa Claus's home in Finland's Rovaniemi on Saturday as he set out from the Arctic Circle on his journey to deliver Christmas gifts to children all over the world. Before boarding his sleigh, Santa called for people to focus on children's well-being and to live in peace together after a stormy year.
At the moment, there are too many children around the world who live in poor or even dangerous conditions.
And around 100 actors and musicians are staging a performance recreating the birth of Jesus Christ in a cave in Slovenia. Visitors can watch the story told in 16 scenes strung along 5 kilometers underground in the cave. And an Alabama woman with a rare congenital anomaly that results in her having 2 uteri has given birth to healthy twin girls. Kelsey and her husband Caleb welcomed Roxy Lila and her sister Rebel Lakin at a gap of 1 day at the University of Alabama at Birmingham Hospital. Hatcher has a rare double uterus and was pregnant with a baby on each side, a rare pregnancy known as dicapital pregnancy, and that has a 1 in a million chance of occurring. Hatcher's pregnancy was considered high risk and she was induced at 39 weeks. After a combined 20 hours of labor, the 2 baby girls were born. U.S. travelers headed to airports and train stations for the Christmas holidays. The airlines have prepared for a busier holiday travel season than last year, when storms caused thousands of flights to be cancelled and traffic to pile up. According to the American Automobile Association, at least 115 million people will drive 50 miles or more during holiday season till January 2 next year. This indicates a 2.2% increase in domestic travelers over last year's holiday season and the second highest year-end travel projection since 2000. Counter-terror cooperation between France and Niger ends as last batch of French troops deployed to junta-ruled Niger finally left the country. The withdrawal comes after a military junta in Niger seized power in July and made France's military withdrawal one of their key demands. In response, France has announced the closure of its diplomatic mission in Niger for an indefinite period. The French soldiers were deployed as a form of military cooperation to help Niger fight a decade-long extremist insurgency. However, the withdrawal has triggered fears of weakening the fight against an insurgency not just in Niger but also in the wider Sahel region. A massive blast at a Chinese-funded nickel processing plant in eastern Indonesia was reported during the early hours of Sunday. According to the officials, 13 people were killed and 39 others injured were rushed to the hospital immediately for medical care. Reportedly, the first explosion triggered several other explosions because there were many oxygen cylinders used for welding and cutting furnace components for their repair. Further details are awaited as investigations into the incident are underway. And still to come on DD India News Hour. Taiwan's defense ministry says it detected 8 Chinese fighter jets. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi praises advancement of drones in agriculture sector. Indian Army's Lieutenant General Johnson P. Matthew flags off a grand car rally in New Delhi.
In a world that never stops, where information shapes our reality, one app stands out, helps you stay ahead of time. Introducing the DD India app, your gateway to a world of news right at your fingertips. Your most trusted source of news goes global, goes digital. Explore a world of options, top stories, live updates, in-depth analysis, and more. Stay informed wherever you are. Real-time alerts keep you ahead of the curve always. The DD India app, connecting you to the world, one story at a time. Download now and explore the world of knowledge, insights, and authentic information.
India's huge leaps towards becoming self-reliant in defense sector. Policy changes enabling increased involvement of private sector. From humanitarian assistance to rescue operations. Increased synergy among armed forces through joint military exercises. Watch Echoes 2023, India's defenders at these times only on DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacts with 250 students from Jammu and Kashmir as a part of a Watan Ko Jano program. India's swift action after attack on merchant ship sends ship to rescue vessel with 20 Indians. US President Biden speaks with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, discusses Israeli military's objectives in Gaza and importance of securing the release of all remaining hostages. And India women cricket team seal historic win over Australia in a one-off test match in Mumbai, clinch an 8-wicket win against a world-dominating side. Numerous migrants continue to cross the US-Mexico border into Texas as the Christmas holiday weekend got underway on Saturday. Video shows hundreds of migrants crossing through barbed wire on the US side of Rio Grande River and then being detained by US National Guard troops. Mexico's President Andrés Manuel López Obrador announced on Friday that his government will strengthen its efforts to control immigration as it seeks to assist the United States in dealing with an unprecedented surge of migrants attempting to cross its borders. Venezuelan migrants crossing through northern Mexico's state on Saturday said Mexican authorities were harassing them. Various migrants in the border town of Piedras Negras recalled police, immigration officers and army were asking for money and physically harassing them. On the other side of the Rio Grande River, which serves as a natural border, migrants waited behind barbed wire for the US Border Patrol agents to process them. A local court in El Salvador has ordered the arrest of former President Alfredo Cristiani for the alleged cover-up of the 1981 El Mozote massacre during the Central American country's civil war that lasted 12 years. In the document issued by a court in San Francisco, Gutera on Friday, Cristiani is named as one of 10 people who promoted a general amnesty law that was approved in 1993 and exonerates those accused of war crimes. Calling the El Mozote massacre a crime against humanity, the document orders the capture of the former president and 4 other defendants who later were part of the country's Congress. During the El Mozote massacre, some 1,000 peasants died in a 4-day counterinsurgency military operation. Taiwan's defense ministry said on Sunday that over the previous 24 hours, it has detected 8 Chinese fighter jets crossing over the median line of the Taiwan Strait. The ministry has also reported a Chinese balloon in the strait. It said the balloon was spotted after crossing the median line late on Saturday morning. In February, the United States also shot down what it said was a Chinese surveillance balloon. Taiwan has repeatedly complained of Chinese military activity around the island over the past 4 years. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has reiterated how the advancement of drones in agriculture sector has increased farmers' earnings and improved their quality of life. Sharing an article by Union Health Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia, the Prime Minister's office posted on X, and I quote, Union Minister Mansukh Mandavia explains how the advancement of Kisan drones provides an effective and efficient technique for the application of liquid fertilizers, leading to increase in farmers' earning and improving their quality of life. Dr. Mandavia in his post said that agri-drone technology is a real breakthrough in the modernizing and transforming farming practices in the country. He described the use of drones by farmers as a drone moment for the agriculture sector of India, heralding a drone movement in the country. Vice President of India Jagdeep Dhankar along with Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath attended the convocation ceremony of Gautam Buddha University at Kasna village. The Vice President participated as the chief guest, where the Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister presided over the program, and at the ceremony 7,914 students were awarded with postgraduate and graduate degrees. Speaking at the ceremony in India's state of Uttar Pradesh, Vice President stressed that the youth are now walking into a corruption-free ecosystem, and he reiterated that power system has been sanitized from corrupt elements.
Girls, you are walking into an ecosystem now, जहां भ्रष्टाचार का बोलबाला नहीं है। एक जमाना था, power corridors were infested with power brokers. बिना करप्शन को सलाम किए हुए कोई काम होता नहीं था. These elements, nefarious elements, leveraged decision making in the higher echelons of power at the state and center. We have now an ecosystem where our power corridors have been sanitized of corrupt elements.
Well, earlier, Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar interacted with the Indian Statistical Service probationers of 2023 batch at UPA Rashtrapati Niwas today. The Vice President was felicitated during the interaction with ISS probationers. In his address to the probationers, Vice President Dhankar said, "We are lucky to have a Prime Minister who is passionate about development of all, and your service has a rich legacy of contributing significantly to the nation's growth and development." Well, on a day of high spirits and patriotic fervour, Indian Army's Lieutenant General Johnson P. Matthew flagged off a grand car rally in the national capital, New Delhi. Organised by JSW NDA, the event is tribute to Operational Badli and in commemoration of the 75th anniversary of the National Defence Academy's establishment. The rally covered a remarkable distance of 1,800 kilometres over 6 days, traversing through key cities and culminating at the iconic National Defence Academy in Pune.
Car rally, which has been organized from Dehradun to Pune, that is NDA Khadagwasla, signifies Operation Badli. We are commemorating 75 years of existence of NDA. So this car rally signifies the movement of NDA from JSW to Pune. We have conducted outreach activities where we are trying to make the nation aware of NDA, and especially the youth, so that we are able to motivate them to join the armed forces.
Well, a special bell from India's Jalisar in Etah district of Uttar Pradesh state, famous for the production of finest quality of brass bells, is said to echo the temple of Ramlala in Ayodhya. A team of artisans has pulled off and surprised everyone with special Ashtadhatu bell. Reportedly, the octo-alloy bell weighs up to 2,100 kilograms. The team claims that it will be the most special and most weighty among the bells installed in any temple in the world. The bell trader and the local MLA have also met the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh regarding permission to install the bell in Sri Ram Temple complex. As India scales new heights in the field of digitization, achieving new milestones, online payments have become a popular and a widely used mode among the citizens. Use of digital payments in the birthplace of Lord Ram can be seen as a perfect blend of spirituality and digitalization. DD India correspondent Ajay Mishra finds this report more from Ayodhya.
Devotees visiting India's northern city of Ayodhya, located in the state of Uttar Pradesh, are getting to experience the facilities of digital payment, even to buy bhog prasad or offering and garlands. Even if one wants to try out Ayodhya's famous street foods like papdi chaat, they are using digital payment mode like UPI or Unified Payments Interface, India's indigenous online payment platform.
डिजिटल पेमेंट से यही फ़ायदा है कि हमको जो है पैसा लेने देने में कोई परेशानी नहीं होती है।
मुझे आराम है कि सर जी टूटा फूटा और आप बैंक में कैश चला जाता है और उसके लिए बहुत अच्छा है सर जी।
Also, at the Kanak Bhavan, the well-known famous temple in Ayodhya, have introduced the digital payment facility to allow patrons to donate money to the temple trust through online means.
The digital payment ecosystem is really a big boon for those who wants to contribute to the Ram Mandir temple building. You can see that's a very simple QR code of SBI. There are select few banks who have been chosen for this noble cause, and you can just scan this QR code on the screen and you can pay whatever amount you want to contribute for this noble cause. Really, this has made the job easier for the donors and also for the Ram Mandir Trust. With camera person Uttam Singh, Ajay Mishra, DD India, Ayodhya.
Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra is being undertaken across the country with the aim to attain saturation of flagship schemes of the Indian government through ensuring that the benefits of these schemes reach all targeted beneficiaries in a time-bound manner. The Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra has now reached in village Maroda of Uttar Pradesh. MLA Gauri Shankar Verma started the program by garlanding the picture of Goddess Saraswati. At the program, stalls were set up by various departments and registrations were also done to provide the benefits of the schemes to the eligible people. Free gas connections were also administered to women under the Prime Minister Ujjwala scheme. The Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra reached Devas city in Indian state of Madhya Pradesh. The beneficiaries of the Ujjwala Yojana were demonstrated the benefits of the scheme, and some women were also given certificates of Ujjwala 2.0 Yojana. People gathered on stage to take the Sankalp pledge of making India a developed country by the year 2047. India's Home Minister Amit Shah is on a visit to the western Indian state of Gujarat. Today, the Home Minister inaugurated a pond in a remote Prasar village in the state built at a cost of 35 million rupees. Apart from this, he dedicated to the nation as well as laid the foundation stone of total 45 development projects virtually. A large number of villagers were present at the event held at Prasar village. Floodwater starts receding in the southern Indian state of Tamil Nadu. Drone footage shows restored flow of water in river, but waterlogging in residential areas still persists. Over 150,000 acres of farmlands, including horticulture crops, have been destroyed in several districts across the state. India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman informed that the central government has chalked a comprehensive support mechanism for the relief operations. The relief and rescue operation continues. Mi-17 V5 and ALH Dhruv of the Indian Air Force have airdropped over 11 tons of relief materials in 12 different places. Well, as per official sources, a high-level meeting was held today in the Prime Minister's office to take stock of the post-flood situation in the southern Indian state of Tamil Nadu and supporting the state in this situation. Officers of the PMO interacted with officials in Tamil Nadu to discuss relief and rehabilitation in the state post-floods. Further, need, if any, for deployment of NDRF as well as armed forces help, including helicopters, was discussed. The visit of interministerial central team to assess damage also discussed. While in an update on the new surge being recorded in terms of COVID-19 cases, about 656 COVID cases have been reported in the last 24 hours in India. Total of active cases of COVID in country are more than 3,700. More cases of COVID are coming in from the Indian state of Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Maharashtra and Goa. It has been advised by the government to avoid going to crowded places, wear a mask and to keep washing your hands. Well, let's take a look at other stories making news. Organic revolution in the northern eastern state of India is building a sustainable future. Over 170,000 hectares of land in India's northeastern region now flourish under organic farming. More than 180,000 farmers have been benefited by this. The number of farmers producer organizations have also touched 379, and 7 organic brands have also informed from the northeast region, which are selling their products worldwide. As the whole nation awaits the inauguration of the Lord Ram Temple in Indian city Ayodhya, the auspicious moment for the consecration has been officially scheduled for 22nd January 2024 at noon. The auspicious timing, known as Abhijit Muhurat, has been carefully chosen to mark this historic event. The consecration ceremony is set to commence at 12:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Precisely during the auspicious Abhijit Muhurat, and is expected to last for a symbolic 84 seconds. Christmas festivities have started early in northeastern state of Mizoram. Streets and markets across the capital city of Aizawl are flooded with revelers enjoying holiday season with friends and family members. National Consumer Rights Day is being observed across India today. On the occasion, Union Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal virtually participated in an event in New Delhi's Yashobhoomi. The day observed annually on December 24 to highlight the importance of the consumer movement and spread awareness about the rights and responsibilities of every consumer. On this day, the Consumer Protection Act 1986 was enacted. The Act aims to provide consumers with effective safeguards against different types of exploitation, such as defective goods, deficiency in services, and unfair trade practices. Another Vande Bharat train to be run between Katra and Delhi from December 30th. This will be second Vande Bharat train to run between Katra and Delhi. Indigenously built Vande Bharat Express is semi-high speed and self-propelled train. Vande Bharat train has automatic doors, bio-vacuum toilets, CCTV cameras, and GPS-based passenger information system and sliding footrests. It also has Wi-Fi, LED lights, charging points, individual reading lights, and concealed roller blinds. Everyone will be able to see the modern facilities available in the train. And still to come on DD News Hour. The Wrestling Federation of India instructed to suspend all its activities till further orders. Stay with us to know more.
India's huge leaps towards becoming self-reliant in defense sector. Policy changes enabling increased involvement of private sector. From humanitarian assistance to rescue operations. Increased synergy among armed forces through joint military exercises. Watch Echoes 2023, India's defenders at these times only on DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Update on the top story we are tracking this hour. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu dismissed reports that the United States had convinced Israel not to expand its military activity during a weekly cabinet meeting on Sunday. Netanyahu said that he's seen false publications claiming that the US prevented and is preventing Israel from operational operations in the region.
Last night, I spoke again with President Biden. I appreciate the U.S. firm stand in the Security Council, a stand that supports our war effort. I told President Biden yesterday that we will fight until a complete victory, however long it takes. The United States understands that. I have seen false publications claiming that the U.S. prevented and is preventing us from operations in the region. This is not true. Israel is a sovereign state. Our decisions in the war are based on our operational considerations, and I will not elaborate on that. They are not dictated by external pressures.
And in Germany, police searched churchgoers at Cologne Cathedral on Christmas Eve on Sunday following indications of an attack planned for New Year's Eve and in the wake of government warnings in recent weeks about a rising threat level. The security measures were a precaution to ensure everyone's safety. German media earlier reported that security authorities in Austria, Germany, and Spain had received a tip-off an Islamist group intended to carry out attacks during the Christmas and New Year festivities. Austrian police said in a statement they were increasing security on the churches and Christmas markets given a heightened state of alert. While palm trees and calm weather may not scream Christmas, Dubai is pulling out all the stops to celebrate the festive season, with Al Seef emerging as the dazzling crown jewel. The historic waterfront district has transformed into a winter wonderland, pulsating with festive spirit under the cool Arabian sun. Taking center stage is an impressive 39-meter Christmas tree standing tall as the tallest in the Middle East, adorned with 30,000 ornaments and illuminated by 6,800 LED lights. This majestic tree captures attention and draws visitors from all corners of the city. Festive markets and Santa meet and greets and enticing holiday shopping deals abound, creating a truly magical atmosphere. V. Muralidharan, the Minister of State for External Affairs of India, participated in a community event in Fujairah, UAE, where he aimed to address and evaluate the diverse challenges encountered by the Indian diaspora. The gathering brought to the forefront various concerns expressed by the community, including passport tatkal issues, implementation of Aadhaar cards for non-resident Indians, among others. In his address, the Indian minister touched upon the significance of recent legislative changes, citing them as essential steps towards achieving the vision of a developed India.
During this visit of UAE, last 2 days I have been interacting with the representatives of the Indian community and also with the officials in the consulate. Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has been always putting across the point that the government of India is there for the welfare of every Indian wherever he stays. So in that context, making the life of every Indian community member in UAE, making their life better, the welfare of those Indian members of the diaspora, the community's efforts are being supplemented by the government, and the consulate has been making all efforts to see that those issues are solved.
Well, on to business updates now. India's Central Board of Direct Taxes on Saturday notified income tax return forms 1 and 4. In a social media post, the Income Tax Department announced that the board has notified ITR forms 1 and 4. The post also highlights that the other ITR forms will be released in the due course. The announcement on the social media platform was made soon after notification on Friday was released to this effect. The forms are meant for the assessment year 2024-25. This means assessors can use these forms to file their tax returns for financial year 2023-24. Well, to promote green mobility in India, the central government has given 5,228 crore rupees subsidy to incentivize 1.15 million electric vehicles. The government has also sanctioned 800 crore rupees to PSU oil marketing companies for setting up 7,432 public fast charging stations across the country. The country is implementing the scheme Faster Adoption and Manufacturing Electric Vehicles, FAME 2, to reduce dependence on fossil fuels and address the issue of vehicular emissions. Well, you're watching DD India News Hour. Time now for sport. And India women cricket team secured an 8-wicket victory against Australia women in a one-off test match in Mumbai. This is India women's first test win against Australia in 11 games since 1977. Dominating from the start, India bowled out Australia for 219 on day one. Shefali Verma and Smriti Mandhana's stellar performance, coupled with contributions from Richa Ghosh and Jemima Rodriguez, gave India a 187-run lead. In the second innings, Sneh Rana's 4 for 63 restricted Australia to 261, despite Tahila McGrath's half-century. Chasing 75, India achieved the target with an unbeaten 38 by Smriti Mandhana, sealing the win on day 4. Harmanpreet Kaur and Rajeshwari Gaikwad's crucial dismissals further highlighted India's all-round excellence. And the Wrestling Federation of India has been instructed to suspend all its activities till further orders on Sunday. The suspension comes after newly elected President Sanjay Singh announced that under 15 and under 20 nationals for wrestling will take place in the northern Indian state of Uttar Pradesh before the end of this year. And nearly 300 Santa Clauses came to town to bring Christmas cheer to passers-by in Tokyo's bustling business and shopping district. Mostly office workers from the area traded their business attire for Santa suits to take part in the event. In India, Christmas is a distinctive blend of local traditions featuring unique cuisines and decorations. On Christmas Eve, markets in the national capital are decorated. All right, and that's all in this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Prasar Bharati from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.